Hello and welcome to this playthrough of Factorio, where I am building a megabase on Earth. I am using a mod, Cities of Earth, focusing on the Old World Hemisphere. My goal is to reach 10,000 science per minute with a rail-based design. The resources are set to maximum size and density, and biters and pollution are turned off. The mod list is shown in the description, as well as a link to my Twitch channel, High Speed. Please come visit me there. Questions and comments are welcome. Thank you for watching. Hello. Let's continue. Things are a little different. I made some changes. I've redirected a bit of rail. What used to run along here is now here, so that I can dedicate this copper to these low density structures. Unfortunately, I can't feed it enough. And so at the end of the last session, I ran out of time to finalize this copper feed. Hi, Vino. I'm doing well. I think I'm getting close to having the train routes controlled. I'm going to have to deal with UPS issues in the future, but so this needs another set of copper, which is, I think, what this is going to do. And then we need half more, which I think was what I was going to do here. Nope. I need a full set. I thought I had one more copper available. Yeah. That one. Okay. So that's all set with the low density structures. They are going to get these down here, and those trains unfortunately are going to take a rather long route, but that's okay. This copper here and this copper here. Now these still have copper requirements, and that can be satisfied with this. So that'll take care of that. So this has the one train which is going to these two unloaders. There's that one. And that one, I haven't settled iron yet. I don't need to settle sulfuric acid. So I have 4 of these trains and 6 of these stops, which might be one too many, but I'm good with that. Low density, I probably have too many of those trains too, but that's okay. Next is, it's a real rabbit hole when I start going down the other requirements for yellow science, but let me try and keep it under control for myself. Let's look at flying robot frames. We have one train right here. Flying robot frames, 2,500 a minute. Flying robot frames plus 4, which is less than 8, which means that that's the way it's going to go. It's also none, because we don't have any engines. So it needs some engines. These engines come from here. That will be plenty of engines if it was working, which it is not, which this is most definitely wrong. So let me get a copy of all of this. So this is supposed to be the electric engines. And these should be at halvesies, 50. A loader of 50, because 50 is different than the others. 1K, 500. 1K and 500. So this didn't get set up at all. There's a flaw. Now it has stopped providing. And you say it's because you don't have fluid. And that would be because I didn't finish building this. So this is broken. So I need to send somebody over there. Or I need to go, but I don't have pipes either. No pipes there, no pipes there, no pipes there. I've already sent you away. You can probably get me there pretty quickly. Take me to this little axe station on this. So let's continue. We'll presume that we get that fixed. These flying robot frames also need batteries. So that is sufficient batteries. So now our first level needs for flying robot frames are taken care of. They need green circuits twice. Now I have a dedicated green circuit thing over here for them. That satisfies it with a little extra, but I cannot easily extract green circuits from here. I mean, I would be cutting this in half. And that's a good question as to whether or not I should cut this in half. So we're going to put this here with a question mark. Because I don't know if I need all that or not. It does need copper, but it's not a significant amount. Especially if I cut it in half. Now this is building again, so that's fixed. I'm going to hang out here for a moment. So if I were to remove all of this, I don't see another need for this green circuits. Now, let's check this train. I've only got one of them. It's picking up from right here, which is the only place that it can. And it's unloading from one of these two. Or unloading to one of these two. So there should be two of these, and there are. Mucky, good morning. Just getting started here. My first day of job interviews and such. Whatnot. Went pretty well. How are you? So might as well just go cut that in half. Hi, llama boy. I am not concerned about finding employment. I know I can do it. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that align with what I do. Well, have you read or watched Huberman's work about caffeine first thing in the morning? And how it may not actually benefit you. You need to be awake for at least an hour before benefit. Yeah. There you go. As a matter of fact, there's a product called Element that takes advantage of that. And it's basically salt water. But anything like a Pedialyte or a Gatorade or something in the morning like that, I know you'd recommended to Cyclo that he start the day with big thing of water, but I'm reading that a big thing of water with some salt in it will also serve you very well. If your diet allows you to have salt, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a doctor, didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express, you know. This isn't what I should be working on right now. But now I'm going to double check that what I did wasn't absolutely stupid. There's a faceless. The thing I see most in my comment section and all the other comment sections is people who claim that they can't get to sleep. And again, I just refer back to Huberman or any of the others. There's the 3-2-1 rule: is don't eat 3 hours, stop eating 3 hours before bed, stop drinking 2 hours before bed, stop using electronics 1 hour before bed. And it seems pretty fundamental. I've never had a problem getting to sleep because I was trained on how to get to sleep, so. Alright, so one more check on this. So you need this, and all of this, and that results on that. So we're good there. Well, I'm not sure that the electronics rule applies. I'm not positive on that one. I don't think it's electronics. I think it's mental focus. Are you doing something that gets you engaged to the point where your energies are rising instead of falling? The best example I had of getting yourself to fall asleep was the overhead light concept. Again, some of it through Huberman. Don't have overhead lights on within 4 hours of when you're going to go to sleep. Use floor lamps and table lamps. But the lights that are above you, because apparently the eyeballs, the sensors for being awake, are in the bottom half of the eye, which makes sense because the sun's above you. So if your eyes are getting light from above, they're essentially getting a signal that says, stay awake, stay alert. Yeah, I understand you follow that one because, I mean, electricity down under, I mean, it's kind of rare. The only place with worse electricity is South Africa, right? Yeah, all the lights are upside down. What we would call ceiling lights, you call floor lamps. Yeah, forgot about that. Um, and then I'm assuming that your copper is taken care of by this one. So that takes care of the copper. Good. Now the next thing that you need, let's go check these engines. Now the engines are shared between blue science and yellow science. So we're going to temporarily select all the engines, which puts us way over, and temporarily select all of the blue science. And the goal is to make sure that we still have enough engines being made, and we do. So now I'm going to bail on blue science, although I'm going to keep it because it mixes sulfur. Also, Mucky, here's something, because I heard you this morning say, if you revisit your MegaBase, you would arrange for neighborhoods. And what I've been mulling over is science neighborhoods, because it doesn't quite make sense to make a red science neighborhood, so I made a red and green science neighborhood, because they share enough input resources that they should, it makes sense that they should be in a neighborhood. And what I've been struggling with over here is who makes a good neighborhood partner for each other, right? Military science can be all by itself because what are its inputs? Stone, some copper, some iron, and some coal, and that's it. So it doesn't need to be in a neighborhood, although it could share neighborhoods with somebody else. Now, purple science is using a lot of red-green, but it's not using blue. So it could share with others, but it's also using a ton of steel. So it could partner with military science, because military science does use steel. And that leaves yellow science and blue science. And these two are a really nice natural fit because they both use engines. So when I think about future neighborhoods, I think about partnering those sciences. And maybe they don't need to be partnered because they naturally use enough resources that they don't share things. But, like the counter argument is that purple science uses a lot of blue chips. Blue chips need sulfuric acid, and that's a shared thing. But actually, no, I got to think that back. The blue chips are used by yellow, so it's an even better fit. Yeah. So, yeah. If I were setting up neighborhoods, I would set up blue and yellow together, red and green together, and gray and purple together. If gray and purple go together, which I think they do, because I think because of this thing's need for steel, and these two's need for iron. Yes, yellow, I've figured out that yellow needs, this is exactly how much copper yellow needs. Assuming that these are full max density for what I'm doing, then full copper, these low density structures, they need, and this is, I've got this localized already, I'm happy with this. They need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's it. Yeah, they need 6, which is 3 full copper outposts for me. And this is max density, max size. And that translates to, you know, however many per minute that it can produce. And then it needs an additional 1 more of copper. Yep. So what I'm looking at now is engines and sulfuric acid and sulfur. I know I got lube covered. So this is going to get kind of complicated, and I'm going to try and uncomplicate it a bit. So I've already looked at the engines, and I want to remove them from this. I wanted to remove that entirely. So are the engines fully supported? That satisfies that. That satisfies that. And then engines need steel. And that's more than enough steel. Okay. So I'm satisfied with those 2 components of yellow science. Because there's 3 components to yellow science. Now, what I didn't dig into here with engines over here was the sourcing of the iron. But I've already dedicated iron sourcing for this. Not for the steel. I haven't touched the steel. I have ideas on the steel. And that's going to be the next big one I tackle, is how to source the iron and steel. Neighborhoodize it, even though it's not really. But next up is to look at the processing units. So I need a good quantity of processing units, which is reflected here and here. So that satisfies the processing requirements. They need some red circuits, which that's enough red circuits for this. But now we cross over into where I've got a conflict with purple science, and it kind of merges into purple science because this electric furnace needs those red circuits as well. So I'm overproducing on these, and I have set up a red circuit production just for those furnaces with a little bit extra needed. And that's where this little bit, so that 60 helps bolster this furnace production. And to accommodate that, I've created a unique unloader here. And this tells me that I've got this set up wrong and I need to switch this. So let me go there and take care of that before I forget it. Because this is a brand new build and I haven't optimized it yet. So even though this is coming on that side, it's got to stay the same as this. That'll help that to unload more evenly. Okay, let's start over then. Blue circuits, red circuits. You need plastic. That's going to be enough plastic. You need green circuits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not quite enough green circuits. But I have an extra green circuit right here that I have labeled for this task. And that's enough. Now, we haven't gotten into the copper yet, but I want to check the trains. So, where are you delivering to? You are delivering to these, which is this. And I have 5 of those, and there's 1 train. That seems a bit wrong. Okay, so I've got some trains that I need to find. That's the 1 train. I think I owe myself a few green circuit trains, but I gotta make sure I don't already have them. Because there's no way I need to make a bunch of green circuit trains. Let's see if I have anything unassigned. I do not. You're in good shape. I only have 1 of these that is supplying green circuits to red circuits for blue science, and that's fine. So where are the rest of my green circuit trains? And do I have them just mislabeled? Where are you? Okay. Oh yeah, your furnaces. Okay, that's fine. That's you. That's you. So I must have reassigned a whole bunch of green circuit trains, or I never had them. So I've got 2 of these. So it looks like I just don't have enough of these, so I need to put down 2 green circuit trains. That's this one. Because I'd like to have 3 of them. Maybe 4. Because I got 5 of these stations. I wish I could open the train view for this. I need to organize this better so I can see, because this view is important to me. I need to come up with a better naming convention than what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm convinced myself I need one more. So the disadvantage of using this dedicated method is that I can't just say, oh yeah, I need 5 of those, and I've got 5 of those. And it's like, well, this one needs this many, and this one needs this many. So it's just not going to be as efficient. And that's just the way it is. Dedicated trains will be less efficient. Okay. So now I'm kind of focused on getting this copper organized. Your copper is all set. I have a generic copper here. There's no copper over here. The copper that's here is spoken for. There is a copper down here that is also spoken for blue science. There's a copper up here that is not spoken for. There's a copper way up here that is not spoken for, and that's kind of nasty, because I really don't want that getting used. So it's likely that one of these is going to get transferred to that ownership. Because there's no other consumer of this copper than right here. This copper is in good shape and fully consumed. This needs a generic copper, but that's not going to satisfy that. This has a dedicated copper. If I'm going to use generic copper, it's going to come out of here. So I've convinced myself that this is the right thing to do, and to find a generic copper that I can slap on that, and then kick this train out of here. Good. So now I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generic copper stations. And that's all right. Doing okay with that. I have a need. Each copper station provides me with 20,000 copper. So I, of course, want to make use. Now, this has already got a copper unloader, so this is no longer, this one's satisfied. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at over here. You don't need copper in here anymore. You're all set with copper. Your copper is all generic still. So if I can, I want to task these 2. I'm going to fully consume these 2 coppers by these as much as I can. So I'm going to grab all of these and all of their copper needs. Matter of fact, I'm just going to do this. And then I will unselect all of that to get it out of my screen. So I need 77,000 copper. Each of these is 20,000. So I will fully consume those and need another pair. Okay, so that satisfies down here if I mark it. And I still have 1 more generic copper. This is all fluids. So that generic copper is pretty much only going to go here. I think what I'm going to do is transfer this so that you're no longer responsible. You're going to be underperforming here. But I'm going to give this entire generic copper over to these two. So let's start with that. So you are for furnaces, is what your existence is for. Right? And the furnaces are for purple science. So, I mean, really, what I should be doing is clearly outlining who this is for. I really need to be doing this. Because when I looked at the station names, I did not like the mess I saw. If I'm going to dedicate things, I want to know what science it's going to be for. So that shouldn't exist. I'm going to dedicate that. If it's for a science or multiple sciences, I want to know. This is a green circuit for red science, for furnaces, for purple science, for research. And this is a plastic for red circuit. I like that. Now this doesn't exist, so we're going to leave it alone. This we are changing. You are going to be for... You two are going to be identical, so you're going to get this name. So this is everything but the unloader. And so that's what this is going to be. Right? And then I have to find a train for it. That's fine. I'll find a train. This is a green science for green circuits for purple science for yes. And then the same thing here. So this is also military science. So this is a shared coal unloader between military and purple. It's plastic that's used in grenades. Oh, it's plastic and grenades. I think I need to do this. Yeah, I think that's the naming convention I'm going to have to go with. What it's doing, what its subcomponent is, if there is one. We're not doing anything with fluids yet. Those are all just generic. And they may stay generic forever. Because fluids are so fast to unload, I don't know that I need to specify them. I'm not quite sure why I have 2 copper unloaders for red circuits. Oh, yeah, because I eat copper in order to satisfy these things. I don't know that I need that, but transport belt. Yeah, I'd say I do. Okay, try not to get too distracted down that rabbit hole. Let's stick with our renaming. This is named wrong, or is it? Furnaces, purple uses furnaces. Furnaces need red circuits directly. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here, isn't it? Where are these red circuits going to be used? Well, they're going to be used for purple, for furnaces. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do that. Sort of the lineage, if you will. So for military surface, so this coal is going to military grenades. Or it is going to furnaces. Plastic. Red circuits, plastic. That's kind of what I got to do. Don't like that. Don't like that shared stuff. What are these red circuits for? Well, actually, this is furnaces, red circuits, green circuits. So it's copper that goes into green circuits, it goes into red circuits, it goes into furnaces, that goes into... Whew. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I think I need to do it. So now I've created a problem in that I want to share these two. Copper unloaders. So I want to say either this or green circuits. Welcome back. So you had a phone call early Friday morning, huh? Somebody really wants to talk to you, huh? I'll take a sip of Monster. So in looking at my train station names, I got to keep this shit organized in my head, right? And this is an argument for neighborhoods. Because here's a good setup. I like this, all right? Research, red and green, copper. Fine. I know that's how that works. I'm good with this naming convention. And if I could do this, I would keep that. So let me think about that for a moment. That's the naming convention I want, because I went in a complete opposite direction here just now to see what the other extreme would be. And I'm not really thrilled with what it did to me, is I had to go like this, because I have a copper station that's shared between red and green circuits, but it's used by furnaces for purple science. Now, do all of my purple science copper unloaders, are they all the same? No, because I have a purple science copper unloader for prod mods. But I happen to know from my knowledge that some of these are going to red chips and some of them are going to green chips. Right? So this is a green chip manufacturer and this is a red chip manufacturer. So in this case, I'm not making a distinction because they're shared. I could easily name these three and these three either way. This is a very clear and distinct way of noting this, is to say it's a copper unloader. It's an unloader for copper, for green chips or red chips, for the furnaces that are needed by purple science. This is a copper unloader for prod mods for purple science. Do I need to clutter my interface up with this additional piece of information? All that really matters here is that ultimately this copper unloader is unloading for furnaces for purple science. I have to have some distinguishing identifier in here to tell me that it's to prevent trains from going from up here to down here. Right? Because when we look at where these things are, this copper unloader set here is not this copper unloader set here. All right, these are different neighborhoods. I don't want those trains mixing and matching. Under ideal circumstances, they would, but I didn't build neighborhoods, so I have to have a naming convention that artificially creates neighborhoods. So I don't think I need to hurt myself by including this additional information. This is a good enough identifier for all of these stations. It's going to the furnace for purple. The fact that it's for red and green, I don't know that I need to know that. And similarly, this is green circuits for the furnace. The furnace doesn't use green circuits any other way. And this is plastic for the furnace. That's good enough. This one's probably got to stay that way. So this is plastic for the furnace again. So in this case, it's coal for the grenades or the furnace. I like that design better. It's research. I don't know if this is going to blow up when it gets exported. I might have to change that symbol, but it's like an OR symbol. I'll have to make some adjustments, but this is a coal unloader. And these are all using the same coal, which is this coal. So this coal is no longer this, it's this. It's kind of lengthy, but that's what happens when you share things. So that's the loader, and these two are going to be the unloader. Yeah. Now, if I'm going to use that naming convention there, then by rights I need to use it here too. That way, when I look down my list of stations, I'll have consistency. Thought I wasn't going to finish that sentence, didn't you? Almost done. And this should be it. All right, so now when I go down to this, I should see a different look. There's one that I missed. So all the research fluids are pretty much generic. So this needs to be changed, but looking at what I've got here, this is red or green, but here I see I've got just a red loader and a red unloader. And that's what I was looking to do, is because I've got a blue loader, blue unloader. I should have a green. Right. So for each of these, and then here's another example of a shared tech. So when I look at this, I go, okay, so I'm sharing coal. Okay, I'm good with that. But when I look at any of these others, if they're not generic and shared across all of them, who's using it? Who's it for? And this, I know, is yellow science. And that's all I really need to put there. But what I'll actually put there is ultimately it's going into flying robot frames. And the value in this is that when I'm looking at where a train's going and who am I going to affect when I make a change, I don't have to guess. If it doesn't have a prefix in front of it, it's just unowned by any particular, it's a shared thing. Like the red and the yellow. They're all getting cracked down. To be honest, it doesn't matter. So this is what? Green circuits and batteries is who gets this. And I may well be overclassifying things. I may be overdoing it here. But it's also serving a role of helping me figure out what the heck I'm doing here. So I've got so many moving parts that my brain is swimming. And I'm struggling. So I need to classify things and coordinate them. Because this just what I'm doing right now isn't working for me. I keep having to redo what I've already done. Because I get sidetracked. And I go, okay, did I already take care of this? What's my status on that? So I'm kind of I'm trying to compensate for that by putting in these additional qualifiers. So steel is currently shared, although I intend to split that off. It's also a good indicator of what I've set up here. This is for low density structures. Oops. Because I have multiple coals here and multiple plastics. That looks good. I like that. I think these are dedicated coals for this. It's probably more coals than I need, but especially since it's only going here to here. So you are yellow science, and you're going to go, ultimately, you're going to go into the flying robot frame. Although right now you're just batteries. Yeah, you're batteries. So yeah, you're yellow science, and you're going into a flying robot frame. And you're a battery unloader. Good. So now your names match. You two are yellow science, flying robot frame.